We take our market research seriously here at Reuters. I went to Saks Fifth Avenue yesterday and saw long lines to buy Chanel bags, which even on sale sell for more than $1,000. So what does that say about the Saks shopper this holiday season? Steven Sadov, CEO of Saks, joins me now with his thoughts. So welcome.
Good afternoon.
So it seems like there is still high demand from the consumer, even though economic concerns are still there. What do you expect from sales this holiday season?
You know, I think that we're in a period of time where the luxury consumer is still reasonably healthy. It's not quite as robust as it was, let's say, a year ago when, for example, the first 9 months of the year we saw double-digit growth. But we're still seeing healthy signs. The first 3 months, the first 3 quarters of the year, we were up in the 4% range. We got hurt during the Hurricane Sandy. That was a tough period of time, but we're still forecasting that we'll see flattish sales during the fourth quarter.
And what about going into next quarter, New Year?
Well, I think right now as we go into next year, we haven't given any guidance for 2013 yet, and remains to be seen as we get through the holiday season. We'll clearly be cautious. I'm hoping we'll get a resolution to the fiscal cliff and that we'll start to see some accelerated growth in the GDP.
So speaking of the fiscal cliff, the concerns obviously still looming over the markets, and I know you like to focus a lot on the stock markets and the perception that creates in people's minds. Walmart CEO Mike Duke sounded the alarm earlier this week. I know it's not the same customer, but if the tax rates do go up, how is that going to affect your core customer?
You know, I'm not sure it's just about the tax rates. For our customer, it's about how do they feel about their net worth. How's the stock market doing? The stock market at 13,300 is reasonably healthy. If the stock market holds up, or if you see an acceleration in the stock market because they do come to some kind of a resolution of the fiscal cliff issues, I think it'll be a positive.
You think the fiscal cliff could affect earnings? How will it impact earnings for you?
Well, I don't know about earnings so much. I think it's going to affect behavior in the sense of if it went off the cliff and you saw a stock market deteriorate dramatically, that would have an effect. On the other hand, if it's a positive effect, then I think it could help in time.
You talk a lot about the retail revolution and the whole concept of the omni-channel. Can you talk about how you're putting that into play at Saks?
You know, I think the consumer is thinking totally differently today. It's omni-channel. They want product anywhere, anytime that they want. And it means that we have to transform our foundational systems. We've got to have common order systems, inventory management, a single view of the customer. And that means we're investing a lot in technology. We have what we call an Oracle system that's called Project Evolution that's giving us the foundational systems to be able to compete in this new omni-channel environment.
Let's talk about the international customer, because especially in your New York store, which is your top store, that's a big focus, the tourists that come. Europe continues to struggle. The Chinese growth has been strong. I know it's a small part, but it's still been growing very well. China's been slowing overall. Where is the future strength going to come from? Is it going to go back to the U.S. consumer, or where do you think it's going to come?
Well, the core of our business is the U.S. consumer, and we continue to focus on that, growing our local customer base. But the international customer is important too. There has been a bit of a shift. The European customer slowing a bit, but the Chinese, the Russian, the Brazilian has more than offset that, so we're still seeing overall growth in our international customer base.
But that said, you don't want to grow so much internationally. You're not.
Well, we're not. We have a few licensed stores overseas. We just opened one in Kazakhstan that's doing quite nicely. We have Middle East, we have Mexico. But our core strategy is focusing on growing in the U.S., growing our internet business, growing our outlet business, growing our core stores. That's where our growth is really going to come from.
And what's the biggest risk to sales in the new year for you?
Well, I think that the single biggest risk is what's going to be happening to the stock market and what's going to happen to the consumer environment. Longer term, I feel great about where the luxury sector is going to go and where the consumer, the aspirational customer coming back. Consumers still love the brands that we sell. So, I feel really good about that. But in the nearer term, it's going to really revolve around what happens to the markets.
And just finally, I want to ask you, it is the holiday season. What have been the hot sellers so far, and what's surprised you?
Well, I think that you're continuing to see growth in your accessories businesses, the handbags, the shoes. We've been doing very well with high-end fine jewelry, so that has encouraged me quite a bit. And you've seen certain pockets of apparel doing well. Men's apparel, for example, as we've gone towards a trimmer, slimmer fit, has been quite nice in terms of performance. Contemporary sportswear has done well in the women's arena, as have certain very fashion-forward, sexier brands.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
My thanks to Saks CEO Steven Sadov. I'm Bobbi Rebell. This is Reuters.